Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Good. Before we get back to code, how about we take a look at the GitHub to see if there is anything coming our way. No, nothing new here, no. Allow command bar to be minimized during replace is something we can do later, right? Do later. What is this here? Fixes garrison points not initialized before first use. Okay. Ensure our contents are positioned correctly. What is this English? What is this? So this causes a mismatch. Okay. Okay, so we need to debug this thing here, right? So last session we figured what the cause of the terror crash is. Yeah, but then we made a change in some other function for the bunker buster, and that caused another crash. Yeah, and that we want to take a look at what that is about. It's a bit wild that we have to use 3 tags. Ah. Okay, let's save this. This is bunker buster tower crash 2022. Okay. And then we shoot on this. Okay. Okay, so we have the missile is killing the bunker that is attempting damage. The bunker buster behavior here on die, bust the bunker, and then it calls harm and force exit all contained. And that is acting on the copy of the contain list, and that attempts damage to the rider, the occupants. I don't know why they call it rider. And then when the terrorist dies, it will fire its death weapon, and that will deal damage, and that will attempt damage on the bunker, and that will call remove all contained, and remove all contained remove all contain. Let me see this pointer. Open contain. The list is empty. Oh, contain list size is 0. 5. Get contain count. Aha. I see. Okay, that's a problem. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Okay. I see the problem. Our fix was not correct. So what we should do is here when we swap. We should probably also do it here. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So what we need to do is when we swap, then we need to set this to 0. Yeah. That should avoid the crash. And then here we should probably add a debug, assert crash, rider, assert crash rider. Contain list must not contain null elements. And then we do the same here. Yeah, and then it does else if, and then here we should say else. Else plus it. Hold on. Oh. There's a problem here. It's not incrementing the iterator. Yeah. So here it's doing else. Well, let's put it back to what it was before. Else. And then here it was, here we always need to increment it. Yeah, we simply put it like this. There we go. Let's put this down here for now. Okay, I think this will work. So this one is kept in sync. A contain list is being emptied here. Yeah. Okay, this is how it should be fixed, I think. Let's test that. Now, this change that we did here in this function will certainly cause mismatch with retail games. So we cannot commit to this change yet, but we can prepare it, right? Yeah. Ah, we can load a save game. How about that? This one. Okay, so this should now work. And crash. Okay. That is unexpected. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's wild. Use of deallocated memory. Jesus Christ. Okay. What is this now? Wow. Okay. Let's open a new page here. Okay, we do get an address sanitizer reports. Oh boy. Create object. Okay, so the object was created here on save load when loading game, yeah. And it was deleted on process destroy list, okay. But we still access it afterwards. Okay. That means we have a dangling pointer somewhere. Yeah. For some reason I cannot see what the object is, but we can see draw. Draw looks okay, but this object is probably not okay. There's a contain. Okay, I cannot see what's going on here. Selection info. Okay, let me put deoptimize here and let's do it again. Man. By the way, there was one thing I wanted to comment on. So regarding documentation. I created this change here 2 months ago. And OmniBlade has this currently blocked. Okay, so let me see. Good, acceptable, bad, good. This is not what the standard guidelines say. As a matter of fact, what they say is a complete opposite. This is the example they give as a reference for good usage of auto. Auto begin, auto Z1 V3 avoids copy, constant avoids copy, H future, Q make unique, F, well. Okay, let me see this one here. More detailed wrap it to 72 characters. The blank line separating the summary from the body is critical. The body entirely. Right, yeah. Right, you commit message in imperative fix bug and not fixed bug or fixes bug. This convention matches up with commit messages generated by commands like git merge and git revert. Use a hanging indent. I don't know what that means. But in general, I agree with this here. Let me, how can we reply to this? Quote reply. I like this part. Where is this sourced from? Let me search for this. Maybe we can find it in web search. Here, commit message guidelines. Ah, okay, it's here. Add CPU arc filter schedule support in a mixed environment of wrap lines at 72 characters. Okay. Do not end the subject line with a period. Capitalize the subject line in each paragraph. Use the imperative mode in the subject line. Use a body to explain what and why you have done something. In most cases, you can leave out details about how a change has been made. Describe why a change is being made. How does it address the issue? What effect does the patch have? Do not assume the reviewer understands what the original problem was. Do not assume the code is self-evident. Read the commit message to see if it hints at improved code structure. The first commit line is the most important. Describe any limitations in the current code. Do not include patch set specific comments. References in commit messages. If the commit refers to an issue, add this information to the commit message header or body. The GitHub web platform automatically converts issue IDs to links referring to the related issue for issues tracker, Jira file in header. And body fixes. Commit message guidelines. Okay, but this is from some guy. This is not an official. Sourced from that. Okay, how often is someone going to want to go from a commit to a PR though? I don't think we should be storing any GitHub specific stuff in a GitHub. Linking a PR, okay, let me quote that. As I said, for me, commit to pull is a valuable association, especially in regards to writing and maintaining change logs. I personally do not worry about disconnecting from GitHub. The project is meant to be built here. That's kind of obsolete. The commit title to pull is a value association for me, especially in regards to writing and maintaining change logs. I know this because it helped me for the changelog in the other repository. Landscape page, which does the same thing. Commit titles. If commits weren't particularly important to keep track of, then I agree the pull numbers would be of no particular use. But the changelog changes everything. Would be of no special use. Regards to writing, maintaining changelogs. Yeah. Basically, what it boils down to is my expectation is that everyone who is pushing against like properly is pushing against decorating the commit titles to have like the most amount of information in it, they won't be there to document all the changes, right? They will make changes here and there, but they won't be there to create the change logs. And so then it's on me to like work towards creating the change logs, but their decisions would be a detriment to me creating those change logs, right? So it's a bad situation. Like if they would take care of excellent change logs and have their way, but I don't see them doing this, and it will fall into my lap most likely. Very high chance. So for me it's upsetting, and I have to take care of so many things, and then other people they don't approach us with the same diligence, I would say, because I would like to like have this all properly set up so that that the release towards the customer, the user, is properly done. Like it requires work, and this requires work that no one wants to do. So yeah. Yeah. The table is a bit dirty here. No time to clean. Must focus on code. Yeah. Okay. It also helps to see which commits belong together in a bundle if they were merged from one pull. I suggest to see these numbers not just I suggest to see these numbers not just as GitHub IDs, but IDs in general, not just as GitHub IDs, GitHub associated IDs, but at IDs in general that can be used for other identification purposes, regardless of the commit hash, which can change on a rebase. The commit hash can change on a rebase. ID in title does not. If they were merged from one pull, I recommend to view these numbers not just as GitHub associated IDs, but as IDs in general that can be used for other identification purposes, regardless of the commit hash. A commit hash can change on a rebase, but the ID in a title does not change. So basically, typically a commit is identified by the commit hash, right? So as you can see here on the side, there is this commit hash, which is this long ass number here. This here. This one here. It's probably small in the video. This, I don't know, 30 character long sequence or whatever that is, right? And the first problem is that it's kind of long. You can you can like shorten it by just taking the first few digits, right? So like the first 7 or so. Okay, but still then there's no like order in these, right? So they're just random numbers from 0 to F, right? So it's not good for sorting. It's not good for memorizing, recognizing. And another problem is if you rebase a commit, then this number changes automatically, right? So if you want to have an ID to identify a certain change, then you need to use an ID that you put in the title, right? So, and this is where these numbers come in. Like this commit now has this unique ID 893, and it will never change. On rebase, it doesn't change. If you make a copy of this, as long as you keep it in the title, this number, you know that this change refers to this number. And then you can use this number to refer to it in a change log and say, this number belongs to this change. And then you can, make an association. Okay, this number is that, and then you can use it for other purposes, right? So I see these IDs as a way to identify, to give a change an ID beyond the commit hash, because the commit hash is not stable, right? But this ID can be kept stable if it's not erased from the title, right? You just keep it in the title, that's it. So I totally disagree with like removing it, because having an ID is good. It allows you to properly identify this here easily. And I think there's also a way to like search titles, so you could search for it, right? Now in GitHub, you can search for the number here. You just put it here in the URL, type the number, and then go to the pull. So I think there's great value in this. Good. So we have back to the problem. Right. So we have de-optimized this thing. Let me go to load game. Okay. Okay, so we attack this and we have this selected, right? Huh, it didn't crash now. Okay. Actually, it did. Huh. Okay. Destroy object. On destroy. Contained by. So, watch this. That's weird. Okay, so what is garbage? Aha. Okay, that looks like garbage, yeah. Yeah. It looks partly garbage. Wow. Slow death behavior updates. Slow death behavior update. I wonder what this slow desk guy is. No. Huh. On destroy objects. Yeah. That's weird again. Oh man. Contained by. Okay, I wonder if we made a mistake. Oh man, this is again a problem. I don't know what the issue is. That is worrying. Man, this game is so brittle. It's a miracle that it runs at all. Oh man, what is this? Oh man. I think that this change here, to fix this way, I think there's a good chance that this causes mismatch. Yeah. But okay, let's try to properly fix it. Yeah. And if it mismatches, then it means that we simply cannot have this fix now and we have to apply it later. Yeah. Yeah. But I've okay. Let's keep on like. Let's not let's not worry about compatibility for now. We just worry about making it work so that it functions as we would expect it would function. I think that's the first step. And then we worry about compatibility. The good thing is that the problem was avoided here in this function, so this one is less of a worry. Here we just try to make a fix for how it should properly work. And for compatibility, we use the legacy implementation. Yeah. But this one is a worry here. Yeah. This one is a worry. Okay, I still don't understand why this is crashing though. Oh. 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 Right, that's why. Because remove from contain works on this guy. I see. I see. Okay, I see the problem. And here on removing, here it's different. Here we erase it here. Okay, so here it's probably okay. This function, remove from contain. Remove from contain. My gosh, why is this implemented so complicated? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a minefield. Yeah. I think it's too risky to touch this function at this time. Yeah. I think we just need to I think we just open an issue report and we say that this needs to be looked into. Yeah. Yeah, let's not touch this. It's too risky now, and there's no big benefits. Yeah. So I will take this and I will revert it. Let me add a comment here. The super hackers add info. This fix is wrong. This fix avoids crashing, but is logically wrong. It will cause terrorists inside bunkers to first apply their damage on kill to the garrison structure. Inside garrisons to apply the damage on death to the structure and force a exit, force a remove all contains. And force a call to remove all contains when the structure is destroyed. When this happens, the remaining passengers or occupants receive no damage. (24:05) 2025. Oh, we don't need a date here, just info. This fix avoids crashing, but is logically wrong. It will cause terrorists inside garrisons to apply the damage on death to the structure and force a call to remove all contained when the structure is destroyed. When this happens, the remaining occupants receive no damage. And yeah, receive no damage. Fix this properly. Let's add to do. Recreate this fix when we can break compatibility. Compatibility. Recreate this fix when we can break retail compatibility. This fix avoids crashing, but is logically wrong. It will cause terrorists inside garrisons to apply the damage on this to the structure, to the host structure, and force a call to remove the structure is destroyed. Remake this fix when we can break retail compatibility. This fix avoids crashing, but is logically wrong. It will cause terrorists inside garrisons, let's call them GLA terrorists, inside garrisons to apply the damage on this to the host structure and force a call to remove all contained when the structure, sorry, when this happens, the remaining occupants receive no damage. Yeah. I don't know if we need it as a comment. Maybe we just put it as a report. Yeah. Okay, back to this problem. So we cannot change the order. We cannot change the order that these guys are destroyed. The good thing is that it's erased here. In the list. Okay, so basically there will be a problem. There will be a mismatch if any child call of this. Yeah. There will be a mismatch if any child call of this will iterate over the contain list and do something with it. Just reading. Writing, like erasing elements, that would be catastrophic, but reading would be valid. And if it then, as a result, does something, then that would mismatch. Yeah. So it's a risky change. It's a risky change, yeah. Okay, let me open a report. Bug fix in open is wrong. EA bug fix in that is wrong. The observed crash and conclusion. The observed crash and conclusion from Chris were correct, but the and the applied fix is the applied fix technically avoids the crash, but it is logically the wrong fix to this problem. What this fix does, this fix current logic will cause GLA terrorists inside garrisons to apply their damage on death to the host structure and force a call to remove all contained. Remove all contained when the structure is destroyed by some of the occupants. When this happens, the remaining occupants receive no damage because they will have evacuated the structure and no longer receive the rightful damage in this function. The observed crash and conclusion from Chris were correct, but the applied fix technically avoids the crash, but is logically the wrong fix to this problem. The current logic will cause GLA terrorists inside garrisons to apply the damage on death to the host structure and force a call to open contain, remove all contained when the structure is destroyed by some of the suiciding terrorists. When this happens, the remaining occupants receive no damage because they will have evacuated the structure and no longer receive their rightful damage in open contain, harm, force, exit, all contained. Yeah. This call will damage the garrison and eventually trigger evacuation of occupants when the garrison dies. I may clarify that I wrote this. Let's call this patch 1.03 bug fix in OpenContain is wrong. Changing this logic will create a retail mismatch. Changing this logic will create retail mismatch. Or let's say will mismatch with retail. So this is a bug, minor, bug. Yeah, that's it. Okay, then we leave this for now and we just revisit it another time. Good. I'm pretty sure it can be fixed. We will have to see then how that looks. Basically, like the remove from contain, it needs to work on this contain list. The good thing is that here in this function, we directly erase from it without calling this function here. So that helps. Okay, so yeah, prevent crashing game when killing. Yeah. I think there's a chance that this fix mismatches though. So this needs some proper testing. Yeah. Let me also say here. Also, this also the loop is technically unsafe because if rider was null, then this loop would never exit. Good. Yeah, so what do we do? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that this change looks okay. Yeah. Hold on. What I find weird here is that when the writer it would be null, it wouldn't remove it from the contain list. I think what we should at least do, put the assert here. Like if we ever hit this assert, then this needs to be looked into. Right. Yeah. I think here we can remove this assert because we definitely set it to 0 up here. I think this assert is also obsolete when we have this assert here. Then let's leave it for now. I think it's fine. Okay. Okay, so basically the stealth fighter thing should work now again. Let's test that real quick. Okay, some terrorists survive. Okay. And that's fine. And then we try this one. Okay, that works. Good. So we can try this fix, but I think there's a risk. This one needs to be tested very well. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, prevent crashing the game when let's say swap empty the member contain list straight away to prevent Oh, how do we describe this? I need water. Okay, the joy of explaining the problem. Okay. How do we explain this? Oh, this is not easy to explain. Oh boy. Prevent a child's call I think we shouldn't call this copy because we don't really make a copy. We steal it, right? Contain list. We can just call it contain list. Let's just call it list to avoid confusion. List. Empty the member list straight away to prevent a child call working on the to prevent a child call a potential child call attempting to work on the contain on the member, I'd say empty contain list straight away to prevent a potential child call attempting to work on contain list as well. This scenario can happen if the rider, if the occupant can happen if the occupant applies damage. If the occupant applies damage on death, if the killed occupant applies damage on death to the host structure, and then forces applies terminal damage on death to the host structure, and then forces and then attempts to remove all remaining occupants of the host structure. This, if the killed occupant applies terminal is a terminal damage, is that a good term? Let's say critical damage, no, deadly damage. Applies deadly damage. The killed occupant applies deadly damage on death to the host structure, which then attempts to remove all remaining occupants on the death of the host structure. Producible by shooting with neutron shells. On a bunker with GLA terrorists. On a bunker containing GLA terrorists. Okay. Empty container straight away to prevent a potential child call. To prevent a potential child call working on, let's say, writing to contain lists as well. Let's say catastrophic empty contain list straight away to prevent a potentially catastrophic child call. Empty contain list straight away to prevent a potentially catastrophic child call writing to contain list as well. Maybe you call it subcall. Straight away to prevent a potential catastrophic child call writing to contain list as well. I don't like the word child call, but I don't have a better term for this right now. Another word for child call. I don't know. Empty containers straight away to prevent a potentially catastrophic child call that writes to M containers as well. This scenario can happen if the killed occupants apply deadly damage on desk to the host structure, which then attempts to remove all remaining occupants on the desk of the host structure. This is reproducible by shooting with neutron shells on a bunker containing GLA terrorists. And a potentially catastrophic child call that writes to, okay, so well, this scenario can happen if the killed occupants apply deadly damage on desk to the host structure, which then attempts to remove all remaining occupants on the desk of the host structure. This is reproducible by shooting with neutron shells on a bunker containing GLA terrorists. To apply deadly damage on desk to the host structure, which then attempts to remove all remaining occupants on the desk. To prevent a potentially catastrophic This sentence is not correct. We don't prevent a child call. We prevent the child call from writing to the contain list, modifying it. To prevent a potentially catastrophic child call, to modify the contain list as well. Empty contain list straight away to prevent a potentially catastrophic child call. To prevent a potential child call to prevent a potential child call to modify the contain list as well. It crashes. It crashed the game. It said to catastrophically modify, yeah. Empty contain list straight away to prevent a potential child call to catastrophically modify the contain list as well. This scenario can happen if the killed occupants apply deadly damage on desk to the host structure, which then attempts to remove all remaining occupants on the desk of the host structure. This is reproducible by shooting with neutron shells on a bunker containing GLA terrorists. Okay, I think I'm happy with this description now. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now my only worry here is the mismatch. I think there is a real chance that this causes mismatch. So let's test this on our golden replay with a VS6 build. So we built 0 hour and no generals. Okay. Let's go. Oh, we should probably, hold on. Let me terminate that build. We should remove the optimization. This as well. Oh, it wants to build with sanitize. Okay. Good. Then we wait for this to finish. Okay, there was also this here where we wanted to take a look. Yeah. I'll do that afterwards. There was while we wait for the build, the typical situation yesterday. So a guy comes, pings me, yeah. So he wants to get like an answer out of me, but he does so in a disruptive way, I would say. So he writes, I was reading through latest dev chat about the new compatibility problem, and I can't but ask, why would you still want compatibility with a problematic vanilla version of 0 hour or gen? Okay, so far, fair enough. Then he's writing, if you're putting so much effort on eliminating as many as possible desync problems, why on earth would you still interconnect a game with a version that will more than often cause a desync? Where is the logic hidden in this decision? So the problem with this phrasing is it's a loaded question. Like he already puts a judgment. Like, why on earth would you do this? Where's the logic? Like it implies he disapproves of this. He disapproves of the approach, right? So it's not a genuine question, but it's more like a challenge to provide him cannon fodder that he can then disassemble and challenge more, right? So what this question does, it it will it will just pull someone's attention to engage them into a never-ending conversation as what is the right approach, what is the wrong approach. You do it incorrect, I do it correct, I see it the correct way, you do it the wrong way. Things like this, right? The first problem is no one has time for this. Second, he's coming from a bad place, from bad faith, right? So it won't be a constructive dialogue, right? And also, generally, this comes, like, I see this all the time. This is not the first time, right? The problem is it comes from people who won't be able to contribute anything valuable to projects. So it happens all the time. You have people coming in, dropping their opinions, their 10 cents, right? And, saying how things should be done. Hey, why don't you just input into the AI and the AI fixes the whole game, right? If it was so easy, why don't you do it, right? So at the end of the day, you need to get your boots on the ground and actually work on the thing. Just dropping some chat messages somewhere in a chat won't achieve anything, right? So, okay. If he just had like a genuine interest in, engaging in conversation and inquiring, fair enough. But this is not that. I see it straight away. Now, Maula, very professional. He gave answers here, genuine answers, and then Ronan was thankful about this. For how long? How long will you wait for people who don't have the fix or just update version of the game? And then here we go. Argument is really weak, right? So he keeps on challenging this, right? So he doesn't look for like understanding really, but he just looks to push his idea of how it should be done. But this person, that's at least my assumption, he will never do anything towards driving any progress for the game, right? So he just goes there and he drops his 10 cents, and then in a week he will be gone, right? Who knows, right? Maybe he's not, maybe he's very busy doing things. Who knows, right? I don't know this person. I've never seen him before, right? So, and then, yeah, it's a conversation, blah, blah. I'm watching this closely, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then my answer was, because I don't want to engage in these conversations, but he pinged me, right? So my answer to him was that the decision of not breaking compatibility with the retail game was primarily made by the community outpost leadership. You can inquire with Legionnaire. This is my response to delegating the communication efforts to community outpost leadership, which is not happen at this point. Like, community outpost leadership is not engaging in these community conversations. So here in this case, Maula is engaging, who is like a core developer right now, engaging in this conversation. But this decision to have retail compatibility for the first releases, that was done by community outpost leadership. So I think it would be best if these people would engage with these committee members to, talk about this. It shouldn't be the responsibility or the task of the developers to engage in these useless conversations here, right? And then his response was, his response to my answer was, I'm pretty sure I didn't ask who made this decision, but why. But it's okay, I got a reply and explanation on the meta by Maula. And I can't help but feel that it's quite an arrogant response to this. Because I think he knows what he did. Like, he put a loaded question there. And yes, he didn't explicitly ask who made this decision, but that's the response, right? And to put this response, it's kind of arrogant in my opinion, but it's not that quite obvious, right? So it's not that bad, right? Okay. And yeah, then he says, I always try to explain my reasoning in a question so I can help my interlocutor give a better answer. I don't know what that word means here. Yeah, it's not really about explaining his reasoning in a question. if you just have a question, you just ask a question. You don't have to explain the question or give your 10 cents about it. Just ask a question and then that's it, right? So yeah, I think that this is like a typical conversation of someone coming in, yielding judgment, is not really interested in like, okay, understanding it, but he just wants to put his opinion there, which, I mean, to be fair, his opinion is reasonable. Like if you just see it from a perspective of, hey, I just want a single player build that just works fine. I just want to play. I don't care about retail compatibility. Fair enough, you know. It certainly is a reasonable perspective, right? But I mean, there's also the other side where, okay, if you drop that thing and no one is able to match with anyone because more than 50% of players are still playing on the retail version because they will take 2 months to catch up on information, then yeah, the rollout will take a while, right? So of course, there are advantages and disadvantages to this compatibility approach. Personally, I'm 50-50 on it. I hate it for some reasons. I like it for other reasons. I definitely hate it because it just makes everything so much more complicated. But yeah, I think for the end user, it's probably a nice thing. For the developers, it's a bad thing. Yeah. But I think it doesn't help to engage in these kind of discussions. As I said, he should engage with Legionnaire or community outpost leadership about this. He shouldn't approach the developers with loaded questions like this. Because basically, what this implies, this wording, what this implies is you are a fool for doing it this way. This is what this message implies. And this author is very well aware of this. He's aware of this. That's what he implies. You're a fool for doing it this way. And the way I see it, so from his perspective, so the way he sees it, is superior to how you guys are approaching this problem. Right? That's what he is basically saying. So, and that's why I think his question, his inquiring about this is disingenuous. He's coming in bad faith. And I'm 99% sure that that's the case. And no way of explaining this changes it. He's coming in bad faith, and I think that's exactly the way this should be dealt with. If someone is coming in this way, there's no way that this needs to be that there needs to be any special, engagement with this kind of person, because it leads to nothing. And this happens all the time. There's every day, well, not every day, but every now and then someone comes and drops his 10 cents, and it's useless information, useless inquiries, and it just leads nowhere. And these people come and go, and they never do anything useful. So yeah, it's just a waste of time. Yeah. Okay, so we have a compiler over here. That's interesting. Swap. None of the two overloads have a best conversion. What? Huh. We used std swap, right? Right. Let me do list.swap. I think that's a better way here. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the rant, but I just thought it was interesting to highlight. And this also happened in the past very, very often. I think this, especially it happens often with like players who really feel attached to the game when it comes to like controversial topics. Yeah, and some people are easier to talk to, where you can like have real discussions and then come to better conclusions about something. But these people, they have to come in good faith, right? They need to have a legitimate interest in discussing a topic, right? And finding better solutions. And I think the developers will recognize good solutions, right? But if someone comes and just puts forward weird ideas, then it's hard to work with this, right? Or if someone is coming in bad faith, then it's just a waste of time dealing with it, because we need to focus our time on productive things, right? And like engaging with this person is not productive, right? Unless he would give valuable feedback, right? But I don't see this, right? So yeah, it's so and so. Some people are useful to engage with, others not so much, but I think that's just I think we can't expect anything else, right? I think this is with everything in life. You interact with people who are useful and those who are not useful. Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's nothing to be too mad about. It's just how things work, right? Yeah. Some people bring us forward and other people hold us back. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now we got past this compiler. Well, that's good. Okay, contain list 0, yeah. So this change, I think it's a good fix, but it's risky. Yeah. So it will be interesting if this will cause mismatches. Generals MD. Okay, still building. It is nice though that the build tells us how complete it is. There we go. Okay, so let's take this guy. Yeah. We put it into our game folder. Then we run it. Loads. No, yeah, load. Good. Golden replay, yeah. Okay, let's see if we get any mismatch here. Okay, so far so good. Wow, quads are very strong against overlords. Yeah. No mismatch here. Oh, these 3-star rebels here. Attention. Okay. Okay, looks very promising. My gosh. So much carnage. Okay. That has succeeded. Fantastic. Okay. Then let's go with this change. Yeah. Good. I will stash this change. Go to main branch. I will pull. Then we create a new branch. And we call this fix open contain crash. Let's say kill all contained crash. Kill all contained crash. By the way, I think we can also delete this one here. You also need to replicate it in generals. Just copy this full function. Huh. Does this function not exist in generals? It does not, because the neutron blast and the bunker buster doesn't exist in generals. Oh. Huh. Okay. But what about this one here? Kill all contain, overload contain. Huh. Okay, let's make this sure though. Let's search for let's search for this one here. This check. Okay, so this, what about this function? Does this exist in generals? By the way, this one needs fixing here. Harm and force exit also doesn't exist in generals. What about remove all contained? That one exists in generals. Okay, at least something. Open contain, there we go. Aha. Remove all contained objects. Okay. Okay, so in generals, there is no behavior to damage or kill infantry inside garrisons. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, then we say it's just for 0 hour. Fix crash when fix crash when killing GLA first in technical. site GLA T. Maybe we describe it a bit differently. Fix crash. Fix crash in kill all contained when occupants kills the host container. We should probably not say host structure, but host container. Yeah. Host container. Because it can be a vehicle or a structure, right? On a technical. With neutron shells on a GLA technical containing GLA terrace. Fix crash and kill all contained when occupants kill the host container. Fix crash and that kill container when killed occupants kill the host container. Okay, that works. Push. All right, then fix crash and killed occupants kill the host container. Yeah. Do we have an issue report for this? I don't think so. We didn't track all the crash bugs, so to not make it awfully obvious how to reproduce them. Let me see. GLA terrorist crash. Let's search for crash. Well, it's a bit too wide. Technical GLA terrorist. No, okay. This change, let me also get the address sanitizer. ASIN reports. This change fixes a crash when this change fixes a crash when the occupants of a container kill that container and force the remaining occupants to evacuate. evacuate. This crash many occupants of a container, kill that container, and force the remaining occupants to evacuate. This kind of the technical mistake here is calling, let's see, calling kill all contains here. The technical mistake here is calling remove all contains after within the occupant's kill all contains. What happens is that the list, that the contain list, is cleared and that's why it is iterated while it is still iterated in, or while it is in the middle of iteration, and that's, yeah. The technical mistake here is calling remove all contained within the process of iterating open contain lists in that. It is catastrophic to modify the lists in recursive calls. To fix this problem, the recursive modification is avoided, but this is avoided. All occupants will be killed before the code ever reaches remove all contains. It's in reports. This change fixes a crash. This change fixes a crash. This change fixes a crash when the occupants of a container kill. What? This change fixes a crash when the occupants of a container. This change fixes a crash when the occupants of a container kill this problem is 0-hour specific. generals does not have this code. This change was tested in VC6 Golden Replay. Let me do a to do. So test in VC6 Golden Replay. Test in more replays. This change carries a risk of mismatch if there is a code path that processes, that reads mcontain lists while occupants are killed in this. Occupants are killed. If there's a code path that reads contain lists where occupants are killed. Otherwise, if it writes, it crashes. Let's say reads could be illegal. Reads are illegal, and reads are legal. Let's make this board reads. Risk of mismatch with retail game. This change needs to be tested as well. Okay, this is stability fixes. Labels, crash, bug, stability, critical, 0 hour. This change fixes a crash when the occupants when occupants kill the container and force the remaining occupants to evacuate. This problem is 0 hour specific. Technical mistake is here calling from within the process of iterating. If we find a mismatch, we need to fix this elsewhere. fix this elsewhere, this problem. Okay, I think that works. Okay, then good. Then that is done for now. Then let me look in this one more thing, this one here. So Maula has inquired whether we need to test this here. If we need to like return here. Let me see. Let me search for calls to log. P data. P bits, okay. So there are just 5 calls or so. Let me search for this here. Okay, some more. 1. Okay, that's all commented out. Okay, there's an assert here. Okay. But is that necessary? I think there's already a assert in here, right? There's an error code here, which does error code. There's already a assert here. Okay, so here we have some additional asserts, but yeah, there's no return. I checked other. I looked at all other code paths that writes that use that call Oh, there's a check here if p data. Okay. Okay, so there's one test, there are 2 asserts, and the rest is unchecked. That's what I've seen so far. So it's a mixed bag. Screenshot crash. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we could add a check. Okay, so which function is that? This one, surface copy, log. Let's search for this. Okay, so basically we can say if p bits direct log log direct. How about we don't use the D3D log direct here? How about we say how about we do void p bits and int pitch. How about we do what we do is structs. Struct rects. Rect. I'll move this here. And then we initialize rect. Pitch. Let's say p bits null. Pitch also null, yeah. 0, okay. Let me say if bits is null, then we clean up. Pitch. Pitch, delete image. We need to release ref though. Return. Yeah, we can do that. Lock. It zeroes memory. So it's guaranteed to not return garbage. It's guaranteed to return null pointer if this fails. Okay. Okay. Then we don't need to initialize it. We can do it like this. Yeah. Let's see if that compiles. And then we replicate it in all the other functions as well. And hope it compiles in VC6, but I think that should be legal. Put a struct in here, in the function body. Okay, let's see what's new here. Lots of issue reports here. Let me put a text here. I looked around the other codes that uses surface class. Lock, and there is one place that tests null to ww assert, and the rest goes unchecked. I've now appended null tests for the screenshots, screen grabs. Okay, so this compiles. Excellent. Then let's add that same change here. So we put this here. This. And then we take this here. Okay. Save all. Excellent. Good. Yeah, I think that works. Okay. Add null tests to add null tests for LREC pipets. Okay, good. Now I push that. Okay. For robustness. think we can remove the stability keyword because stability is sort of implied with crash, right? Yeah. I mean, if you have a crash, it's unstable, right? So, yeah. Good. Is there anything else we should do in this session? Has been 2 hours 44. Yeah. Good. Yeah, we put up this one fix here. Okay, then next session, I think we can look into more crashes. I think there are a couple more known ones that we can look into. Yeah. Yeah, there is the, I know one. Yeah. We can look into the crash. Two crashes. So there's a crash when you exit the game or exit the replay while a player drops a beacon on the map anywhere. Yeah, and at the same moment you exit, the beacon is dropped and then the game crashes. That's one. And the other is there is some crash when you select the player in the replay. And then the replay runs and then it crashes. It doesn't happen in all replays, but it happens. And it's annoying. Yeah. So we look into that as well. Yeah. And then I know one more, but I won't go into details now. Yeah. So there's certainly enough crashes to go around. Good. Yeah, I think we made some good progress here. Then, yeah, I will take a break here. I hope you enjoyed. I wish you a great day or night. Until next time, goodbye.